everybody. Welcome to episode number 6 of This Week in Location-Based Marketing. I'm Rob Woodbridge, and with me is...
Asif Khan.
So, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas to everybody. Asif, right back at you as well. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, absolutely. You too, Rob, and to all our followers, Happy New Year as well. So,
all 4 of you, we really appreciate you watching us or listening to us. Of course, This Week in Location-Based Marketing is where we decipher the week that was, and in this instance, we're going to go back a couple of weeks because we took a little break about what's going on in the way of location-based services, location-based marketing, and try to actually add a little context, a little bit of flavor, a little bit of an interest, and a little bit of what the impact is on your day-to-day job if you're interested in the space. So, it was a couple of, I thought it would be a quiet couple of weeks, Asif, but it really wasn't, was it?
It's never a quiet week in location-based world. I mean, if there's not a new platform being announced, it's a new application of an existing platform. So there's always something.
It's pretty amazing because I thought that we could take some time off, but I think the general blogosphere, software company sphere, Twitter sphere was quiet over the holidays, but a lot of the activity was really done between Christmas Eve and New Year's Day. So why don't we just jump right into it? And I think that we should start with something that I think is going to have an impact on a lot of companies, which is patent number 7848765, awarded to Ware Incorporated. This is pretty big because they've been going after this for a long time.
Yeah, it's huge, and I think as you said, they've been doing this for a long time. So Ware's been a player in this space for quite a while. They're very well established, in the location-based platform market. Some 4 million, active daily users, I understand. And what I really like about them is that they're differentiated in a sense in that they focus on the small, medium business. They're not going out there signing deals with the Gap and Macy's and people like that. They're going after a lot of those smaller businesses and building a business around that. And the patent side, is something they filed way back in 2005. So they've been thinking about geofencing for a long, long time.
Well, let's talk about that. So what they describe here is it covers Ware's method and systems for geofencing and the associated delivery of applications, content, and mobile coupons. So it's very specific to their technology. But geofencing, for those who haven't heard of that term, you'll hear much more of it in 2011, obviously. But this is a common technology. This is a common term that people are using. Do you think that this is going to have an impact on other companies that are leveraging this or trying to?
I'm not sure how much of an impact it'll have on some of the established players, Foursquare, Facebook, the guys that we talk about on a regular basis. I think what it does is it really strengthens Ware's position in terms of being able to protect itself and hold its value from a valuation perspective and defense against that. So I think having been awarded this patent now, it puts them in a really, really strong position. And also, as I said already, focusing on the small medium market that they're focusing on, I think clearly distinguishes themselves from some of the other guys anyway. So,
do you think that this is a now that they've got the patent, right? This is a pretty significant amount of significant thing because, as you said, it protects their business. It protects for the long term. And all of a sudden, there's a lot of IP now associated with Ware. Whereas before, there's location-based services are a dime a dozen, it would seem. Do you think that now they're going after financing? They're gonna start to scale this a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the patent, if you read it really carefully, it's quite broad what they've been awarded. Yeah. So in some respects, it gives them a lot of power, to try and prevent other people from coming in the marketplace. Now, I mean, they're on record when this patent was announced saying, obviously that's not what they want to do or not what they're interested in doing. And for now, I kind of take them at their word on that in the sense that I think they've got a good business model. They're focused on that model, and the patent simply strengthens, their valuation, from an IP point of view. So, what it does do is it almost guarantees that somebody's going to buy them at some point. Do you know what I mean? Like it kind of just solidifies that position. So
Well, it certainly does, and if nothing else, but not for the 4 million measly people that use the product or use their technology, but really for the patent to protect that big company,
Right.
perhaps like you know, a Google or a Facebook, as I think everybody is going to be swallowed up by them.
Right.
Yes, well, I mean, it's a broad patent. It absolutely is a broad patent, but these guys, by far, 5 years in the making. So certainly well ahead of the rest of the world when it came to this kind of technology. And the concept of geofencing isn't new, but certainly these guys were at that bleeding edge.
Yeah, and you got to remember, like, you know, the company is run by you know, Walt Doyle and a couple other guys, and Dan Gilmartin, who I talk to fairly regularly, is ex-Sprint. But you know, Walt and some of the other management team, these guys all come from MapQuest. You know, like, they've been in the mapping business and the you know, the geolocation space for a long time. So I'm not surprised that, you know, they were applying for patents in this area back in 2005. It makes complete sense, you know, when you look at it in that context. So,
well, good on them. So we'll see how this plays out. Do you think? I just wonder. The last thing that I wonder is that are they going to then license this out? Are they going to license the right out? Are they going to be altruistic, take the high road, and let competition, you know, develop in this industry, because they could really protect this in a way that, well, just like geofencing, you know, you'd have to go through them in order to be able to leverage this technology. And you don't want to get into like a CompuServe GIF thing where they tried to go after you know, the copyright after the GIF had become a
yeah.
A standard.
I don't know. Personally, I don't see them doing that. You know, I think it's more of, you know, a card that they can hold, you know, close to their vest, and, you know, play it strategically when necessary. You know, use it to hold their valuation. You know, and, you know, I don't know what the exit strategy is for where, but I'm sure you know, it's not too far on the horizon. So
it just got augmented. How about that?
There you go.
There, Asif, there's some augmented reality.
Yeah, it's very real. Yeah.
That's the location-based marketing joke. So obviously this plays into the next stage, which is outdoor. CBS Outdoor and have launched this great initiative with Location Labs, which is kind of, you know, the beginning of Minority Report, right?
Yeah, and it kind of ties back to a story we talked about, you know, previously with companies like Screenscape and some of the others in the digital signage space that are starting to build Foursquare widgets and other connection points. And, you know, and I love it because it hammers home, you know, the whole LBMA, you know, mandate of, you know, horizontal integration of media around a location. And so we're coming at, you know, more and more examples of this. So now you got big, you know, billboard companies, out-of-home companies like CBS Outdoor, you know, working with, you know, agencies like Tribal DDB in this case, you know, and big brands like Intel, which is what this promotion's all about, to, you know, kind of get the word out there and really demonstrate, you know, how technologies can work together.
So walk through it, because if everybody's been taking a little bit of time off, this was done before Christmas, December 20th, and yeah, you participated in it between the 15th and the 29th. So walk us through it.
So the promotion is based around a campaign to launch Intel's new smart TV, as it's called, and so it starts with users downloading an app to their smartphone by texting in a short code. You get this app, and then, you know, the app basically, again, using geofencing technology, when you walk into let me take one step back. So the whole thing uses, you know, multi-channels here. So you got billboards, digital signage, mobile apps, geofencing, and a whole bunch of other, you know, pieces in between there, tying a campaign all together, all to promote Intel's new smart TV. And so you download the app, you know, based on short code. You got this app, you know, your geofence, it knows who you are, it has certain information about you stored in there. You walk into Penn Station, and then there's, you know, touch screens, digital signage type environment set up that personally welcome you when you arrive, based on, you know, the geofencing, you know, picking up where you are based on this app. So that's kind of a short version of what's happening.
So you literally walk into the room or into Penn Station, and because it's permission based, you've given them their permission based on the
right.
app. And I guess if the app is running in the background, you walk up to a screen or you see a screen and it'll say, "Hi, Rob," or "Hi, Asif," based on some preferences that you've chosen or questions you've answered. It'll display something that's unique to you, obviously, which is really the beginning of this Minority Report.
Yeah, and again, it's not a new experience in that sense, because we talked about that with Screenscape the other day, and the Twitter, the Foursquare widget, and same kind of big screen welcoming you when you walk into a venue. But what's new about this, and what I love about it, is we're tying an app that's being pushed down to you via short code that you texted in, that you saw on a traditional billboard on the street to begin with, and then that you got that app, and then we're using geofencing to tie all that together. So it's tying all these different location-enabled technologies together, which is just awesome.
It's pretty amazing. I was reading a blog post. I'm going to get this guy's name wrong, of course, but from David Weinfeld, who is at dsinsights.blogspot.com. And he talks about why Location Labs and CBS Outdoor should be applauded for this. And really what he does is that he takes an interesting view, which is that this is really great because of the tailored advertising, specific advertising really towards you, stuff that you might be interested in, as opposed to wading through all the garbage that comes at you as you're walking through this. So he's really talking about the deployment as really intelligent advertising, and I think that's interesting if you want it. And
it sort of speaks to kind of I agree with you completely, and I think Location Labs is doing a fantastic job at pushing this this boundary forward. And Tasso over there, if you haven't already talked to him, reach out to these guys and chat with them. Fantastic company, but. Where I was going with that is it kind of talks to this more general view of moving from just a social graph of Facebook and all the data that comes from that to what we're now calling the interest graph as well. And so Cora, this new engine that's out there now, kind of like it's sort of like TweetDeck on steroids in my world. It's it pulls all the stuff that you're interested in and filters it all down, but based on keywords and topics and all kinds of other things. Yeah. And similarly, that's kind of what we're going to see on with a location element to it in 2011. I think is it's starting to filter down based on interests.
Well, I mean, I'm excited about this, just to see where this goes, and really, I think that the big point that David makes is obviously that it has to be a little bit more sticky. It has to be embedded, but this is early days, so we're learning here, and it has to be everywhere for it to be effective, I think.
Right.
So that's CBS Outdoor and Location Labs. That's been launched. I'm interested to see what the impact and the feedback of that was. Hopefully we'll be able to get somebody who is listening or watching or wants to participate with us to let us know. But this was really, over the last couple of weeks, there was a lot of news about geofencing and location-based and checking in. So our third story is about Gowalla and the Sundance Film Festival, which is a really interesting one. Because I wouldn't have thought that Gowalla would be the perfect choice. I would have thought, for example, Scavenger would have been the perfect choice for something like the Sundance Film Festival. So what are they doing together?
Well, I mean, let's look at that carefully for a second. So I think, I mean, if we think about how Gowalla's repositioned itself in the last kind of iteration of the product around an experience and kind of helping make that experience memorable. Then and then we look at the film festival, the Sundance Festival, as an event that prolongs for a period of 10 days. Then it is an experience, and if you're an attendee of that, and I go to the Toronto Film Festival here, and so on and so forth, it truly is an experience, and it is something that creates a lot of memories and so on and so forth. So Scavenger is great if you want to have run around and go find the secret treasure that's hidden in the valley or whatever it is, But I think what they're really going for here is special stamps and pins and things that you collect by going to certain events and certain parties and different aspects of the festival, right?
Yeah, but I see. Really, this is not technological difference, right? This is not innovation. This can be done with Foursquare or any other of the location-based stuff. This can be done with with foot feed. It can be done with 100 other double Dutch. You
Sure.
can build your own. You can build your own location-based service or a check-in technology. And the stuff that we've talked about over the last number of weeks about the kind of the open sourcing of location, really, I am not impressed with this whatsoever. I think this is pretty lame, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, so I'll completely agree with you on the statement that there's no technological innovation.
Yeah.
I completely agree with that 100%. So, but what we are seeing here is a separation of the platforms around, what markets they're focusing on from a business development perspective. So, you've got guys like Foursquare and Scavenger that are out focusing on relationships with brands. And doing deals directly with brands, doing deals with retailers, and focusing on that. Goala is not doing that, in my view. Goala is focusing on event experiences.
Yeah.
And the film festival is an event experience.
Yeah.
So there is no technological innovation. I got that. But we're trying to make this a memorable experience and give you something to to remember it by.
Yeah.
And that's what they're focused on. So you're going to start to see, the Disney thing, that they already did, the film festival. You're going to see more of these kinds of things. And I'm going to venture out and say that 2011 is going to be, big as far as, events are concerned, and using location-based services around all sorts of film festivals and music festivals and events and of the like. So.
I would 100% agree with you on the events side. I just don't think that Goala is going to play here. I don't think that they have the stamina to play in the events category. I think that there are too many. They don't have enough of an install base. I mean, they're competing against already entrenched players, and entrenched. I mean that in a nascent industry. This is where I think that we'll differ, because I love Goala. I use this. I love Goala. Yeah. But I feel, just like I feel that Groupon made the biggest mistake they've ever made. The history of business mistakes, that will be it when Groupon's not around in a year. And I think that Goala is lost. I think that they're terribly lost. And I hope that they pull it out, because their product is superior to anything that I've ever used. And I'll use it to the day that they stop, which unfortunately might be in 2011. They might. I think that they're lost, and it's upsetting. So
well, let's say it remains to be seen, right? Yep. But we'll beg to differ on that one. And hey, if the film festival can afford to pay Goala for custom stamps, I guess they're making some money somewhere.
Oh, but that's such a bad business. Custom stamps. So I will tell you, their stamps are beautiful.
Yes.
So are they they're in the custom stamp business? There you go. That's the future for Goala.
They're in the business of supporting artists.
Exactly. Which
somebody's got to support artists, right?
There's no money in that.
So,
it's
anyways,
like having a free blog. Okay, but so that leads us to New Year's Eve. So this was really New Year's Eve, the New Year's Eve of the check-in in Times Square. It doesn't surprise me. 1.5 million people congregating there. Foursquare's backyard. Scavenger is just a little bit away in Boston. So these guys, and Facebook is far away in California, but pervasive around the world. New York, or New Year's Eve, and New York was the epicenter of check-ins this year, weren't they?
Absolutely. I mean, and I think again, an event, if you want to call it that, New Year's Eve, with a ton of people in Times Square and in other venues as well. But you saw, Facebook Places, Foursquare, Scavenger, all of these guys that you've mentioned, very active with, whether it's, special badges. Foursquare had a badge that, after 8 p.m. Eastern time, just checking in anywhere, regardless of whether it's Times Square or not, you just got this badge. Yeah. And a number of other things that went on. It was quite an interesting night from that point of view. No numbers have come out yet, but Foursquare
working with Bravo. You said that this was the perfect. We talked about this just briefly before we went live, and we talked. You were saying that this was one of those things that married the check-in world to the real media world on Bravo.
Yeah, and again, similar to the CBS Outdoor OMD tribal thing with Location Labs, where you're tying kind of digital signage and billboard to check-ins. Here now you're seeing broadcast television coming together with a check-in service, and again, I think we're going to see a ton of this in 2011. We saw some stuff early on. with the Real Housewives of New York City, and Foursquare did a tie-in early in the year in 2010. We saw the announcement from Endemol about Foursquare doing its own reality television series, and now we see Foursquare with Bravo on New Year's Eve. So what they did was Bravo did their very first ever New Year's Eve broadcast with Andy Cohen. They ran a ticker stream across the bottom of the broadcast that basically, as people were checking in, they were doing live photo feed. They were doing first names and hometowns of people where they were. Nice little simple integration into the broadcast based on a stream coming in from the check-in.
Yeah, well, and not a concern about privacy there whatsoever.
No.
I love that.
No, there was, but
I'm on TV. That's my price for my privacy.
Yeah. So, and
then Scavenger did what I thought was great, and I love Seth Prebatch, who's the the CEO at Scavenger. They did an American Eagle Scavenger check-in that raised money for Big Brothers and Big Sisters. They $5 or $10 per every time they checked in.
Best promotion of the night.
Best.
In my view, of all of them. I mean, what more can you ask for than to have, raising money for a charity, right? Yeah. So, and very simple. All you had to do was, find the billboard with the eagle on it, the American eagle on it, and take a picture of yourself, with the eagle in the picture, and send it up, right? So, and when you did that, American Eagle donated $5. Scavenger matched it, so $10 donation. To Big Brothers Big Sisters. I mean, just great use of it.
Well, I love that, and that's why I'm, just as a sidebar, I'm so excited about Facebook and their Facebook when it comes to Canada, because it's not in Canada yet. Places is in Canada, but Deals isn't, and when Deals will allow you to, when anybody checks into your location, make a contribution to a charity of your choice, and I think that to me is really of great value. If Koala did that at Sundance, man, I would say that they will be around forever. But good on Scavenger.
Yeah, and on that note, just the whole tie-in to a charitable angle, around using these platforms. There's a guy named Joe Waters who's doing cause marketing for dummies, like the Dummies book. Yeah. And there's a whole chapter that he's focusing on location-based services in that book. So just something to watch for as well.
I've talked to the Boys and Girls Club here in Canada, and they're looking for, their original plan was to set up an app and charge for the app, and that would be your charitable donation. You get a receipt for $1.99 or $9.99 or whatever they're going to choose. And I said, just be patient. Wait till Facebook Deals comes out, and then work with your partners locally to be able to bring out, every time they check in at a location, a Starbucks or somewhere, that $1 goes to, Starbucks, or would actually pay $1 to the Boys and Girls Club. And I think that has such power. That really could turn the tide for location-based because it's simple. And instead of getting nagged at the checkout at the cashier at your local grocer saying, you want to donate $1, just check in. Donate $1.
Yeah, it's so easy.
It's awesome.
It's just so easy to do, and not to be left out on New Year's Eve. Facebook was active. They had a billboard encouraging people to check in as well, that they did with the Times Square Alliance. So so there's lots going on.
Yeah,
lots going on.
Well, I loved it, and I did none of that. So I didn't even check in anywhere on New Year's. I did not get my crunked badge on New Year's Eve.
I didn't get mine either. So
yeah. So then, we talked about this right before, a couple of weeks before Christmas, and we put a plea out the last week. It was the Social Wayne, the LBMA. This is our resource. This is our resource of the week, which is the results. Now, today being Sunday, you're reading this or you're watching this on Monday. The results should be in front of you at thelbma.com of this survey that Social Wayne and the LBMA did about location-based services and technology and check-in and patterns. So let's talk about that. How much can we reveal here? Everything?
Absolutely. No.
Yeah.
So we were, for the last, I guess, couple of weeks, we're driving people to the site to do this, 2010 year-end location survey, and so the results are somewhat to be expected, and some things that I thought were kind of interesting. And I would also say that for the most part, we're kind of have a crowd that filled this thing out of fairly educated location-based service users,
yep.
Fairly active users. So the most interesting thing right off the bat was 51% of people that filled this thing out were using Foursquare as their primary platform. So I think that's a huge number, but it speaks volumes to some extent as to how far entrenched they are. And I should also point out that we had over 80 people complete this.
Yeah.
So
it's, I mean, it's funny because we talk about this is a check-in savvy crowd, and what really struck me was that of the concerns that location-based applications bring, 47% of them said privacy or stalking. Right? So on one hand, they're advanced in their knowledge and they're using it quite literally, but on the other hand, they're looking behind them saying, yeah, somebody's following me. And then 9% of the people who responded report stalking someone.
Yes.
This is great.
Yeah. So I mean, but what does it tell you? It tells you 2010 is the year of location-based experimentation.
Yes.
In 2011 is going to be the year of real adoption. I think we're going to see, to go to the Pew Research, 4% of Americans are using location-based services.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see that number not double, but probably at least quadruple. I wouldn't be surprised if we were in the 20 to 25% before the end of the year. So I think it's going to be significant. And I think you're going to see events that we've already talked about drive a lot of that. We're going to see deals drive a lot of that. We're going to see interest graph drive a lot of that. So while you say 47%, according to our results, are concerned about privacy, an equal number are saying there's not enough deals on there yet, as well. And so you kind of have those two camps. You have, and I talk, a lot, here and in other places about, value and relevancy. Why am I doing this? Why am I going to do this? I'm only going to do it if there's real value for me and it's relevant. That value, the deal or whatever it is that's being offered is relevant to my needs and my interests. Yep. And so those are reflected in the results that we see here.
Well, they also said that very well reflected was the technologies that are going to have an impact on location-based services in 2011. And the old standard, I think, just as we've been waiting for the year of mobile, is 2011 the year of QR codes finally? Because 31% of the respondents said, yeah, QR codes are going to be the technology that are going to have the biggest impact on LBS in 2011. I think this is finally it.
Yeah, I think QR codes, barcodes, scanning in general, scannable code, let's call it, of some sort, I think is going to be a big play this year because I think you're going to see brands pushing it directly, and it's not just the platform companies like Foursquare and Facebook and Google, but I think you're going to see the brands really get out there and put QR codes on product packaging in a large way.
Well, to your point, 31% said QR codes, 11% said NFC, so near-field communication, 6% said augmented reality, 5% said RFID, and then 2% said barcode. So those are all in the same family. So,
yeah.
I mean, when you think about that, it requires an action, a swiping action, or a picture taken, or a scanning to get any data. So this is going to be the year of the code. I'm going to start putting them on my kids. Just get them.
The year of the code. There you go.
The year of the code. Well, so this is available. Is this available for download at the LBMA?
Yes.
Okay, as a PDF.
There's a PDF available. Yeah.
Just go to thelbma.com, and it'll be somewhere there, prominent, I'm sure, as a result of it'll be the results of the location graphic or the location deals, check-ins, and demographics. So go and check that out. Well done. I'm really happy that you guys did that. It gives a good perspective. I'd love to get a little bit of a broader appeal of people who don't use this, but then again, they probably never heard of the LBMA.
But that's going to change in 2011 as well. So.
It's the year of the LBMA. It's the year of everything in 2011. So this brings us to our tool of the week. Checkpoints.
Tool of the week is checkpoints.
Let's talk about that.
And it's an interesting one because it sort of follows on one that we talked about recently as well, which is sticky bits. And the year of the code, the year of
the
scanning
yes.
barcodes and codes. So, I mean, the nice thing about checkpoints is it is like a Foursquare, like a Facebook Places. It has the concept of checking in, but to my point of value and relevancy, it's with a reason. It's to earn points that are redeemable for prizes and things a la loyalty program.
It's its own loyalty program, is that right?
It is its own loyalty program.
So you check in, you get points. You check in. So not only do you check in at perhaps their example, it's great. Just go to checkpoints.com that you check in at a grocery store and you get points for checking in at the grocery store. But you'll then you can check out inside of that grocery store different aisles that have different products on promotion. That if you check in or you scan those products, you'll get points as well that are redeemable at checkpoints.com for swag, basically, right?
Right. That's right.
And I mean the stuff looks good.
Yeah, and I think I mean iPads and all kinds of interesting things. But the key thing here, and I've touched on this already, is platforms, whether it's Koala, Facebook, or somebody else, are starting to find their niche. And I talked about Foursquare and Facebook going after the big brands and the retailers. The retailers in particular. Yep. And Koala going after the events and the experiences. And these guys are going after the brands directly. So they don't care whether you're going in and you're scanning that product at a Best Buy store per se. They only care what the product is, and regardless of where you scan that, it's irrelevant to them in some cases, right? So they're going out and signing deals. They announced when they originally launched with Tyson Foods, Belkin, Energizer, a bunch of interesting brands. So they're going out and doing deals with brands.
So how sticky bits, checkpoints, is the industry big enough to sustain a lot of these guys doing the same thing that are brand targeted?
Well, for now, I mean, I think you're going to see, like we saw with the platform, the initial location check-in platforms. You're going to see a whole bunch of people come into the barcode space this year. Yeah. All kinds of new players, right? And I think I mentioned this once before, but we haven't heard anything from the king of barcodes, right? As in the guys like IBM. Yeah. Where are they in all this? Where's NCR? Where are all these guys who actually build all the the point of sale scanning systems? You got to think that there's applications coming from these guys soon.
Yeah. Or acquisitions.
Right? So so I think there's a lot more to come there. And similar to into the kind of the check-in space, we're going to see consolidation. We're going to see companies just exit areas and move to other areas, like we talked about with Brightkite. Yep. In a previous story. So
basically, this is what's so great about this. About what's going on in location-based marketing right now and location-based services is that it is literally that the opening of innovation, and companies are trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work, where they can make money and where they can't make money, and how they can get users and how they, oftentimes how they don't get users. And I think that's what 2010 was, 2011 will be, and towards the end of what happens this year is I think that we will start to see this industry mature enough so that we can actually see some winners, guys making money, but a lot of consolidation, a lot of pain for a lot of companies is going to happen in the next year while they're trying to figure out how to make money or modify their business model.
No doubt.
That's it. Asif, we're done.
All right, thanks, and Happy New Year again.
So we'll see you next week for episode number 7.
Looking forward to it.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Enjoy.
Cheers.